Hey everyone, welcome to today's video. And those who are new to my channel, a very warm welcome. And please hit the like, share, and subscribe button. Hit the bell icon for getting notified for more such videos. And with that, let's get started with today's video. So, today's video, what I thought is, I actually got a recent comment in one of my video asking that I'm actually planning to move to admin role, and can you share some insight in respect to how to use a response file? So folks who doesn't know what is a response file, just a refresher, and in case like those who haven't heard, for them it's a new concept. So typically long back, like when there were versions like 4.3, like if you remember, like who has been working for installing integrator for a long time, uh, the product name was used to be called as Gentron Integration Suite 4.3, right? And then after that, when IBM acquired, they had it renamed, right? And it went through a lot of updates and renaming, and now it is called IBM B2B Integrator, but earlier it was Sterling B2B Integrator. But having said all that as a backdrop, earlier there was like long back there was only one way of installing the Sterling B2B integrator. How is you typically get a jar file, right? .jar file, which has all the installables within the jar file, and you need to have the proper Java JDK version installed in your Windows or Linux version based on the documentation, and then you initiate that like jar file using install service, and then typically it used to like if it is Windows box, like you can do it through command prompt. You can go to the folder that where you have saved the jar file, and the requirement was there shouldn't be any spaces between the full length of the path to the file. If there are any spaces, like even if the folder name has spaces, it used to throw an error. So you have to make sure those things. So there were some prerequisites that we as an admin had to make sure before we start the installation, or the installation will fail somewhere in the middle. Now, that was the first initial way of installing Sterling B2B integrator. Later, there was one new way of installing. Instead of providing all the information during the installation, right? Like when you start the installation process with the jar file, either in Windows or Unix, it used to give you like a lot of prompts, like, okay, what is the port number that you want to install it? What is the host name or the IP address, and then there were like other prompts where you used to have to point to the JC file, the restricted file, right? So there were a lot of prompts, and you have to go through all of them and give inputs, and then when you finalize it, like even the database, like you need to have a database, right, before you install Sterling B2B integrator. So you need to have the database JDBC driver. You need to provide the JDBC username, password, the JDBC host name, and all that, right? And then you just to check whether the connection is successful to the database or not, right? And all that pre-checks, once everything goes good, okay, is where it used to then proceed towards the installation, and then it typically used to take like from half an hour to an hour for the installation. Now, as I mentioned, down the line, right, they initiated one interesting concept called a response file. What a response file is, and why we use it, is like response file is okay. Just to let you know, response file is nothing but a text file. Okay, it has a certain naming convention, and it is a text file. It's a template, right? So you get a template. It has all the parameters, right? Or you can say like name value, like, so it has all the name of all the parameters already in the template. And then what, as an admin, you used to do is like you are doing a fresh installation, right? For example, so typically you take that response file, the text file, you fill in all the details, the value of all the names, like all the configuration in the text file. You save the text file, and then when you are starting the installation, we used to call it as silent installation. That means you just provide, like there was a certain specific way of like inputting that text file as a uh, like as a file to the overall installation, so that you don't have, now you're not going to get the prompts, right, that you used to get earlier. And then instead of that, all the information that the sequential prompts are actually expecting, they used to take it from the response file. So, and that is the reason the admin doesn't have to input anything, and the installation used to proceed further as long as all the information is correct silently. So that is why we used to call it a silent installation, where admin is typically just observing, but he's not actually literally putting all the information, the keying in all the information manually. So, and the benefit of using a response file is, typically, like let's say you are doing a installation uh, in an environment, right? And you want to make sure that you are recording all the information that you have used for the installation. Let's say that is needed, like maybe in future you're doing some upgrades, right? Or you need to remember, like there, like somewhere or other, like you have to store the information that you have used for your installation, for either like installing it in the next environment, trying to mimic the same thing, or maybe like the installation got corrupted, the server crashed and you need to reinstall. So you need to have a way of like ensuring all your settings that you have used for during installation is recorded somewhere. So that was one of the benefit, that you keep that response file somewhere as a backup and then use it for different other reasons. So that was the benefit. Now, having said that, later on, right, when IBM took over, they made a lot of updates and changes. There was one new way of installation that came into picture, and I'm not sure how many of you are aware of it, but here is what I wanted to share. If you like are not familiar, there we used to be and there is, like, this is the current step. So currently, like if you're trying to install Sterling B2B integrator, there are two methodology. One is you need to have IBM installation manager, or IIM we used to call, which is a Eclipse based tool that you need to install in your local environment. And then when you used to open that IBM installation manager, it used to have all those information. Like you need to select which your are you installing Sterling integrator, file gateway, all that. Okay, and then you go next all the pages, and then typically you used to ask for all the necessary information that you needed. And there was a an option, okay, that instead of giving all this information that it is going to ask, like in all the pages, which is cumbersome, and also like you're not recording somewhere, do you want to use a response file, right? And if you are uploading the response file to that, then it used to skip all those prompts for you, and it used to like make sure that all the information that is there is valid, the validation goes through successfully, and then you just sit and observe, right? So it is still there. So now you have like either, so you have to use IBM installation manager irrespective of that, right? And then you can input that um, uh, response file as an input for installing. So that's kind of the brief background of response file. Now, how does it look like? Let me quickly share my screen and then I'll show you. So here is what I went in, and I was look like there are certain, like, so I eventually changed the different versions based on you are wanting to like try it out. But in under the installation Sterling B220 by using the IBM installation manager, there's a prerequisite: preparing the server, downloading the installation item, configuring the database, MQ. Here's what I was referring to: creating a response file. So before you can silently install or upgrade Sterling B2B integrator, you must create a response file. And then it has all the information. You can go, like if you want to dive deep into this, I would highly recommend using this information over here. And if you want to look into the sample, there is some sample response file as well for you. Like if you click on this, it's going to go to the sample response file, and then it tells like which response file is used for which. Like let's say you are doing a Sterling B2B integrator, you use response file underscore B2BI, right? And then let me see. So newer version. So let me do one thing. So if you see over here, it's mentioned sample response files are provided with Sterling B2B. The response file is an XML file that can be modified and used to install Sterling B2B and its features, right? And how you have to edit and all the information is over here, right? And then there is an off section called recording a response. If you want to create like ground up, you can still do that. And then let's see the latest one. I'm going to go to the latest version. Yeah, so I think there is no changes as such over here. And then there's a creating a response file where I mentioned, right, response file parameters and what used to put all this information is here. And I wanted to show you like, so here's the reason, like, and I wanted to show this document. Okay, feel free to go into documentation. The other thing that I wanted was in this page where I was trying to download the a fixed pack. I wanted to show like quickly, like if you download a fixed pack, like where the response files are already there as a template, and then you just need to download. Like let's say if I download this, it's gonna download the response file with it, and it's 1.17. But I'm gonna skip this. But then the other interesting thing that I wanted to show you in addition to response file is, I'm not sure how many of you like this is a trick to learn more about the installables, what are there within the jar file and all that. Here's one thing. Let me go to this installation, right? And I'm going to show you one quick thing. So let's say I have this Sterling install here, right, that we use for our demos and all that. But this is the jar file that I used to install Sterling Integrator in Windows, right? Now, interesting thing is how, if I want to know, right, what is the structure. So I'm going to do one thing, Control Z. Let's do one thing. Let's create a copy. Okay, I don't want to update the existing one for some like mistakenly. So let me do a quick copy of this one, and then I'm going to show you one fun stuff. So let's see. Let's just wait. Okay. Okay, it's taking a while, so I don't want to wait that long. So I'm gonna go directly for the time being. I will not. I'll make sure like I'm not doing any modification. But I wanted to show you one quick thing. So uh, let's see, rename, and if I do a zip, I want to change it from jar to zip, right? And it says okay, yeah, change it for me. Now it become a zip file, the jar file, right? We as an admin had to do a lot of like, sometimes we need to do like little modification within the jar file. So this was the process we used to follow, but ignore that fact. This is just for your understanding I'm showing you. So now if you see, like if you go in this, or if you like, now you see like you can literally see within the jar file what are the different information and the files that are there, right? So if you see over here, there's like installables. So you have all those, and then you have the middleware. So how does a what are the things that are there within this jar file? You can actually see all of that, and you can even like go beyond this, make this. This is the final one. This is the actual one, right? The bigger one. So you can even make it zip file and then unzip it, and you can actually like start observing stuff, right? So if you want to play with the jar file, right, just for your understanding how it works, you can certainly do so. And how do you do so? You can change the uh, extension from jar to zip, and then you can like extract it in your local and then start playing with it. Like if you see further like additional jar files as I showed Within that, you can even make them zip file and unzip it and then look into those, right? So typically, like that's how we used to like learn, as well as like going through the documentation that I showed you for a better understanding. Now, having said that, I know like there were some questions that I wanted to address. The first thing is like someone was asking, sir, when are you going to continue or start the Connect Direct series? Very soon, I'm going to do that. That's the answer, right? Just keep have some patience, right? The next question is like definitely I'm going to focus more on like EDI interviews. How do you prepare for that? I would also highly recommend looking into some other tools, like some other cloud native uh, EDI solutions, right? I kind of introduced to AWS Transfer Family, which is also growing. So definitely look into that AWS Transfer Family. If you have any questions, feel free to let me know. And the good thing about that is that you can quickly like have an AWS account open for yourself and start playing with AWS Transfer Family. How you can quickly like spin up a SFTP or an AS2 server, start sending, receiving files through your S3 bucket, right? So that's also the thing. Like it has even the EDI module within that, like a B2B data integration, which I've showed you as well. So I would recommend like get your hands dirty in as many as tools possible, not only just restricting yourself to Sterling Integrator, right? And when you are actually working on Sterling Integrator, go much more deeper, right? Just not focusing on the superficial level of like, okay, I'm just doing mapping, so let's just focus on mapping, but go beyond that, expand your horizon, start playing with the business processes, start playing with additional tools like like tools, I would say, like for example Sterling File Gateway, Global Mailbox. Go beyond that, Sterling Secure Proxy, right? Go, see from the front end to the back end, right? Like you have Sterling Secure Proxy, you have Control Center, you have Authentication Server, right? Perimeter Server. So there are a lot of things that you can like that are associated with Sterling B2B Integrator. So when you want to become an expert in Sterling B2B Integrator, focusing on the associated into an interview, they are not going to just talk about Sterling B2B Integrator, because Sterling B2B Integrator is actually not the front end facing application. It is from an enterprise application standpoint, but if you actually look into any production infrastructure for a big company, typically there are additional tools, as I mentioned, secure proxy, authentication server, perimeter server, which is in front of Sterling B2B Integrator, protecting your external bad actors, right? So definitely there's how you're gonna integrate secure proxy, like configure secure proxy, authentication server, and Sterling integrator or perimeter server, right? These are also very important. So try to also learn more about those products as well, right? So I hope this was useful, and I'll see you in next video. Those who are new to my channel, please like, share and subscribe this channel for more folks who are actually working in EDI and can get some kind of benefit from the videos that I'm trying to make and trying to give you some insight. Also, hit the bell icon for getting notified. And with that, I'm gonna conclude today's video, and I'll see you next week.